What's going on, everyone? This is Dom and meet Vibe. This is my ultimate $2,600 all AMD Ryzen 2700X gaming and productivity build. Now this thing is definitely batting for Team Red and looks great while doing it. And for a full parts list, be sure to check out the description below and be sure to leave this video a thumbs up for more builds like this in the future. First off, for the case, I'm using Be Quiet's Dark Base 700, which looks absolutely awesome. It's got an RGB lined front panel, tempered glass on the side, fully invertible, and tons of space for activity. It really has some of the best cable management out there, but it's also pretty big. Now I went with an Asus STRIX theme for the whole thing as well, packing in the Asus ROG STRIX X470-F gaming motherboard, which has plenty of I/O, looks super clean, and is definitely a perfect fit for the Ryzen 2700X processor. I'm also running a 4.2 GHz overclock and keeping that guy cool with the NZXT Kraken X52 AIO, which also packs some RGB like the rest of this build, and I'm using AeroCool's P7-F12 fans for the radiator and the exhaust on the case itself. Now following the STRIX and AMD theme here, we have Asus's VEGA 64 GPU, and we'll get into performance here in a little bit, but as for RAM, we have a 32GB kit of 3000 MHz Corsair Vengeance LPX RAM. We have the Corsair Force MP500 120GB M.2 drive for the operating system, and a Western Digital Blue 500GB SSD for storage. Now powering the whole show is Corsair's RM850X 850 watt power supply, and I picked up CableMod's Pro Mod Mesh Cable Kit in the carbon color, which looks absolutely clean inside of this build. And finally, to add a bit more color, I have some RGB strips from Corsair to just give it a little bit of extra lighting. Moving on to performance, under heavy loads, the 2700X stayed in the mid 60s thanks to the Kraken X52, and the scores with the overclock are definitely appealing here. For Geekbench, we got a single core score of 4,849 and a multi-core score of 26,938. In Cinebench, we scored 1,845, and in 3D Mark's Firestrike, it came out at 18,086. All great scores for my setup here, but let's talk about gaming for a second. So with the STRIX VEGA 64 and the 2700X CPU, this is some of the best gaming performance that AMD currently can offer, and it did a pretty good job as well with all the games at a 1440p resolution and set to high settings. So in Witcher 3, I saw between 65 and 75 frames per second, Grand Theft Auto 5 was sitting smooth between 90 and 100 frames per second, and Rise of the Tomb Raider sat around 80 frames per second. But obviously when you're spending this kind of money on a gaming PC, it better do good. Then again, for the price of the STRIX VEGA 64, your money might be spent better elsewhere depending on what you plan to do with a build like this. So what do you think of my ultimate AMD 2700X build? Be sure to let me know in the comments section below, and feel free to leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more builds like this in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone. This is Dom, and I'll catch you in the next video.